So many of you sent in some questions about one of the unique parts of the disaster we've seen in western North Carolina, the lack of internet and cell service. Holly asked, what causes the cell service to go out? Is it the cell towers? Is something damaged? And Kay asked, are new cell towers needed? So let's unpack this for just a bit and talk about some solutions. And we'll start with why the service went out. For starters, there's the power outage, of course. But even when power comes back on, the reason service remains spotty isn't the cell towers, it's the cables in the ground. I'm talking about those fiber optic cables. They connect cell sites to the larger network. Maybe you've seen them installing the cables in your neighborhood. It's kind of the new thing, and it's the new thing for a good reason. Fiber optic cables make connections faster and more reliable. You know, a typical thunderstorm may knock out the power and knock over a power pole, but if the lines are in the ground, you still stay connected. The trouble in the mountains is the ground shifted entirely. Helene dumped more than 2 feet of rain in some places, and that caused landslides like this one in Watauga County. And when the land literally slides away, so do the cables that are underneath. Verizon reported damage to cables was a big contributor to their loss of service. So what do you do about something like this? Well, what if there was an internet connection, for instance, that doesn't need cables, doesn't need towers? What if the internet came from the sky? Well, it can, and it's called Starlink. Elon Musk is behind this. Maybe you've seen the rocket launches on the news. For years, the company set satellite after satellite into space. Now, there are more than 6,000 Starlink satellites orbiting Earth. Maybe you've seen these too. They kind of look like a UFO or something like that, little strings of light coming out of the night sky. Starlink can work for pretty much anyone, anywhere around the world. So from military operations in war zones like in Ukraine to right in your backyard. You just buy this little satellite dish looking thing off of Starlink's website and subscribe to their service. It's about $120 a month, a little pricey, but about the same price as your typical internet bill. Plug the dish in and you're off to the races. WRAL has been using Starlink all week to bring stories to you. Here's what one of our engineers said about it.
The bar of entry is very low. It's very simple to set up. It's very easy to use, and it's not incredibly expensive. There's not, a huge bar of entry of getting to one of these.
All right, now before this becomes some kind of ad for Elon Musk, let's consider some of the pitfalls here, because there are pitfalls. To run the dish, you need power. If that goes away, you need a generator. To use that generator, you need gas, and if you run out of gas, you need a gas station. If the roads are washed out, you're not going to get to those gas stations, and even if you did, they can't pump the gas because there's no power. So you can see how Starlink isn't exactly a silver bullet to the situation they're dealing with in the mountains. But that's why bringing in help from outside is so important. It's why Elon Musk stopped charging for Starlink service in that area, and why the big service providers, the carriers, brought in their own satellite trucks, and why local companies are bringing in mobile cell towers. Lots of different options to get things going.
Yep, exactly.